What a ride this season was. Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. APW Sports signing in. And yes, I am kicking off season 10. It's crazy. I've done 10 seasons of this on this channel of Chicago Bears Weekly. Now, usually I kind of wait till the offseason and the Super Bowl is completed to start these. But this particular episode, I wanted to do this kind of a little bit fresher than what I would do normally. And in this episode, we're going to reflect solely on the 2025 season. I'm not going to look ahead to 2026. I'm not going to talk about much of what we need to do this offseason. That will be, spoiler alert, episode 2 of what we need to do in this offseason and what I think the Bears should do and all that. But this episode is just basically reflecting back of what we accomplished as the Chicago Bears during this 2025-26 NFL season. But before I get into that, make sure you guys leave this video a like as it continues to help this channel to grow and it continues to beat the YouTube algorithm. And if you are somebody that's not subbed, go ahead and click the subscribe button and the notification bell so you will not miss anything that I post. Just because the Bears season is over doesn't mean the video will stop. I'm still going to talk about the rest of the league and, of course, still going to do a few things about the Bears. But without further ado, let's dive into it. One thing that we could talk about, that expectations that this Bears team had in this 2025 season. Nobody really had us going to the playoffs, well, except yours truly.
I think the Bears finished this season 10-7, and I see the Bears entering the playoffs as a 7 seed.
No one really had us winning the division, including me. No one had us winning a playoff game, including me. And this Bears team exceeded all expectations. Now, I will say, do I think the Bears are a year ahead of schedule? Absolutely. I think this Bears team, the way that it performed as a unit in 2025, was a year ahead of schedule because, honestly, I thought it was going to take a little bit of time for this Bears offensive unit to get in tow. And honestly, it actually did. I think the first 2 weeks of the season, Detroit and Minnesota, especially the fourth quarter of those games and mostly the whole Detroit game, it was just like, okay, is this Bears team back to where we were before in 2024? Or are they still finding ways to lose football games? I think the Ben Johnson offense got right that Dallas Cowboys game, and more necessarily after the bye week, in the way this team ran the football. Yes, they ran for 119 against Minnesota. They ran for 134 against Detroit. But I think things really started to explode as a run game after the bye week when they come back against the Commanders, run for 150. New Orleans, 222. Even though we had a slip against Baltimore, Cincinnati, 283. So when we're talking about this offense, I think, number one, Ben Johnson installed a little bit more earlier than what we anticipated. And two, I really believe that this run game, and that they all talked about it during the course of the season, is that the run game of the Bears really took off after the bye week. When we're talking about this, not just this offensive unit, we're talking about the defensive side of the ball. One thing that they continued to do the entire season was take the football over. 23 interceptions led the league. 33 turnovers led the league. And we're talking about a team that turned the ball over the least in the NFL with only 11 turnovers as an offense. We're talking about the Bears offense the entire season. What a crazy thing that we turned the football over so much in 2024 to this year. We don't really turn the football over at all. And props to Caleb, because outside of the playoff games, he didn't have a single game that he had multiple interceptions. He also set the record for quarterbacks for most attempts and the least interceptions. And I think it was the first 1,000 attempts, the least amount of interceptions. Caleb doing a great job of taking care of the football. He did a great job at avoiding sacks. And then on top of that, when we talk about bringing in Dolman, bringing in Thuney, bringing in Jonah Jackson to help with this offensive line. And then on top of that, we had Ozzie Trapillo step in and fill in out when Braxton Jones went down. We had Theo Benedict step in at times at left tackle as well. This team goes from giving up 68 sacks to letting up only 24. And we're talking about the course of the entire season. This Bears team only let up 24 sacks. What an astonishing change from what we had as a unit in 2024. So, Joe Thuney comes out Pro Bowl, All Pro. We talking about Drew Dolman, Pro Bowler. Darnell Wright, All Pro at right tackle. That is the benefit that you get from your offensive line playing well. Not only do you run the football very well, which the Bears finished third in the league in rushing, you protect your quarterback very well when you're giving up only 24 sacks in the game. Passing game, the Bears ranked 10th. Points, 9th. Yards, 6th. And this Bears unit, when we're talking about offensively, it's just like night and day when we're talking about the way that Ben Johnson schemed up the game. We're talking about the way that they ran the football against the Philadelphia Eagles. The way they ran the football against the Cincinnati Bengals. The way they ran the football against all these teams in the league. We're talking about Cleveland, they ran the ball very well. Green Bay, they ran the ball very well. Both times they ran the ball for over 150 yards. The scheme of this running game has been tremendous. Kyle Monangai, what a great find that the Bears pick up in the 7th round. I've always said, your later drafts is something that you'd use at depth. But when you talking about the injuries that the Bears had at running back to start the year, we're talking about Roshan Johnson was probably going into the year as our second back. Travis Homer, they both missed time to start the year. So, and we bring in Kyle Monangai. Britton Brown even had a couple of carries, and he had his first NFL touchdown against the Cincinnati Bengals when DeAndre Swift was out with I think it was the groin injury. Kyle Monangai was a phenomenal find. Two, also, the rookie class that stood out, we're talking about one, Colston Loveland. And I was kind of one that questioned the drafting of Colston Loveland to begin with. We get the Colston Loveland draft pick, and he turns out to lead the Bears in receiving. Then on top of that, we get Luther Burton, who, in all intents and purposes, was a first-round talent at wide receiver, to get him at 39 overall in the second round. Then Ozzie Trapillo, another rookie on the offensive side of the ball, stepped in and played really well at left tackle, even though it sucked that he got hurt in the playoffs. And he got hurt in the I think it was the very last drive against Green Bay that helped up win this game. He gets hurt, but he had a really good season. The Monangai draft pick, so all our offensive rookies, they stepped it up tremendously in this offense, which makes the future bright. Sucks Shamar Turner missed most of the year. Ruben Hippolyte, he got hurt as well. Zy Frazier, draft pick, he didn't play at all the entire year. Luke Newman, he barely played much this year. Only like spells and kind of like the extra offensive line packages. But this rookie class, shout out to Ryan Poles. And I was, like I said, I was the one that questioned the Loveland draft pick. He hit.
Yo, what's up, guys? APW Sports here, and today's video is being brought to you by ExpressVPN. Now, there's a few things I really like about having ExpressVPN. One, I feel protected. Being on the internet a lot as a content creator, or being on the internet period, especially in the 2025 modern era, you're going to need protections from hackers. You're going to need protections from your passwords. You're going to need protections from your vital credit card, vital personal information. ExpressVPN does an excellent job of protecting you. And also, if things happen to slip or if things have been exposed before, you will get alerts to your phone that will let you know that that things have been exposed to the dark web and that you should take action. And then another thing that I really like about it is that you can unlock more of Netflix. Now, me personally, if you guys don't know, I am a big WWE fan. And since the WWE has a partnership with Netflix in the international areas, you can get your PLEs, you can get your Raw, SmackDown, NXT, all things WWE on Netflix. Best thing to do, switch your location to say a Canada, to say a United Kingdom, and bam, there you go. You have all your access to your WWE content, and it unlocks more things that necessarily United States does not carry. And that is another thing that I really love about ExpressVPN. So to get yours today and get 3 months free, click the link below and use code APW Sports at checkout to get 3 months free of ExpressVPN. You will not regret that at all. Best investment you will ever make. Protect yourself and unlock more television on Netflix to watch. Now, we're going to get back to this video.
And we're talking about the Bears on the defensive side of the ball. 23 interceptions, 33 takeaways. Now, the one thing that this Bears offense did do, it gave up a ton of yards, which ranks them 29th in the league. They gave up a good amount of points, which ranks them 23rd in the league. They weren't great against the run, which ranks them 22nd, and passing defense was 22nd. And one thing about this Dennis Allen scheme, and we've seen a lot of it, especially later on in the year, was that you had to necessarily play a little bit of man coverage. And I think for the fact of the Bears suffering injuries to a Dangbo happened later in the year. So the guy who they got in the trade during the deadline, Tryon Shainka, he gets hurt later on in the year. We're talking about this Bears defensive unit. While yes, they did lead the league in turnovers, but one thing we thought the Grady Jarrett move and the Javon Dexter move was going to do, and it didn't, was help us better against the run. Now this was a bend don't break type of defense for majority of the year, which was great when you were getting all those turnovers. We're talking about Tremaine Edmunds. He had a hell of a year, even though he missed 4 games, led his team in tackles. TJ Edwards sucks that he gets hurt late in the year against the Packers in the playoffs. DeMarco Jackson filled in very well for them at that time being. Jaylon Johnson missed majority of the year. Kyler Gordon missed majority of the year, both due to injuries. Montez Sweat, I will get into that a little bit sooner. Austin Booker, who missed a decent amount of time with the knee injury, I think he came in and started to develop really well. I think Andrew Billings, I think he could have had a better year, to be honest. And I think Jaquan Brisker, he had a solid year. Kevin Byard led the league in interceptions. Turned out to be a phenomenal find in free agency last year. But back to Montez Sweat. I might be the only one that kind of feels this way about Montez Sweat. And you guys can leave your thoughts about this in the comments. I kind of pointed this out to a few close friends of mine. Is it me, or does Montez Sweat look like he's playing at a heavier weight? It looks like, compared to what he was in 2023 when the Bears first drafted or traded for him, and versus what he's playing at now, at least this is my opinion. It looks like, number one, he is not as healthy, or something is not right at times. And it looks like he is playing at a heavier weight than what we've seen him in the past. Maybe it's just me. I maybe just be seeing things, but I just want you guys' opinion on this seriously, because I think he is playing at a heavier weight. Now, we do get Santos. He gets hurt. Moody comes in, kicks the game when he feels good against the Commander. Torrey Taylor still puts the Bears in good spots as far as his punting ability, and puts the Bears in the winnable field position battles. Then Duvernay with his, he's not a Devin Hester. No one is. But especially against the Minnesota game and times this year, he's given the Bears great special teams play and kick returns. Josh Blackwell as well. And then he ends up blocking the field goal against the Las Vegas Raiders to help us seal that particular ball game. This Bears unit, I want to say defensively, I think it kind of maximized the ability of the players that we had, especially the healthy ones. Because I think if Kyler Gordon and Jaylon Johnson is healthy for the most of the year, and then we've seen it against the Rams in the playoffs, this probably would be a different defense. Because I came into this year saying that Kyler Gordon is probably going to be the X factor of your defense, especially the way he can blitz off the edge, especially the way he plays that nickel slot corner spot. He is going to be the X factor of your defense. And we've seen it when he was fully, I think at his most healthiest that he was the entire season in the game against the Rams, with the way he was coming off the edge with those corner blitzes that was giving the Rams fits all night. I was expecting that from Gordon all year, but unfortunately, the health kind of dwindled that. And we had Jaylon Johnson with the core muscle surgery, missed majority of the year. I think it kind of hurt our defense. Now, Nahshon Wright turned out to be a great find with him leading the league in takeaways, him being at the top towards the interceptions. And he was basically a practice squad player, but with all the injuries to our corner spots, he turned out to be a great find for this defense. And then C.J. Gardner-Johnson, I think he comes in the Cincinnati game because of the injuries to everybody that we had on defense. I think it was Baltimore or Cincinnati that C.J. Gardner-Johnson debuted. But either way it goes, he came in and kind of fit well. He already knew the Dennis Allen scheme from his time with the New Orleans Saints when he was the head coach / defensive coordinator there. He had a little bit of familiarity with the defense that he had. And I just think when we're talking about, like I said, they maximize the ability of these guys, the defense that we did have that when it was healthy, but it sucks that Damo goes down. It sucks that Shamar Turner goes down. Terrell Smith goes down in the preseason. Noah Sewell ends up tearing his Achilles. I think that was against San Fran. He ends up tearing his Achilles. It kind of hurt us in the playoffs, not having a guy like that. A Bombamiga missed time. And just think, what if this defense was fully healthy, especially in the back end for the majority of the season? We may be talking about a very different Bears defense. I was kind of on my edges with Dennis Allen at times a bit this year, I'll be honest, especially later on in the year when it seemed like we couldn't get stops. But we just didn't have the health either. And we didn't have some of the horses that were needed to kind of keep up with some of these teams in these ball games. But I will give him credit. He made adjustments to this defense when it came around to, especially in that second half against the Packers in the playoffs, and then in the entire game against the Rams. Like I said, we were healthier then, and we saw what this defense can potentially be schematic-wise at times, and can potentially be if all the horses are right. But like I said, I will go into the next episode about what the Bears should do this whole season. What a season it was. We had an explosive offense, something we haven't seen in Chicago in a very long time. We had a defense that take the ball away, kind of getting back to some of our roots, some of the Lovie Smith roots, the way they turned the football away. No, they didn't turn them into touchdowns outside of, I think it was the Nahshon Wright pick 6 and then the T.J. Edwards pick 6. We didn't turn a lot of them into touchdowns. But when we're talking about taking the football away, giving your offensive chances to score points, and the Bears scored a lot of points this year. Ben Johnson's up for Coach of the Year, which I think rightfully so. With the turnaround that he did with this football team, whether it's the culture, whether it's the accountability, whether it's coaching these guys hard, and then the coaching staff he brings in, Declan Doyle, OC, Dennis Allen, DC, JT Barrett, quarterbacks coach, Bieniemy, running backs coach, Randall L. wide receivers coach, Al Harris, DB coach, who turned out to be a very good find for him. And we're talking about Richard Smith, linebackers coach. This team, it just exceeded all of the expectations. I know I picked this team, like in the clip, I picked this team to win 10 games and make the playoffs. But win the division, I didn't see that coming, especially with what we anticipated from the Vikings, what we anticipated from Green Bay, what we anticipated from Detroit. Their division did a full 180. We finished last, we finished first. Green Bay finishes third, they finished second. Minnesota finishes third, they finished second last year, third. Detroit wins the division and comes in last. And every team in this division finished over 500. Yeah, we're talking about the NFC West. Of course, we're talking about that division. Your top 3 teams basically may be the top 3 records, 2 or 3 records in the entire conference. But when your division as a whole, over 500, we know the exit out of the NFC West is the Arizona Cardinals. But for the Bears to come into this year and actually pull off a division championship, what a great season it was. And shout out to George McCaskey, kind of changed things after the passing of Mrs. McCaskey. We know her spirit is rolling over this football team. It's just the culture shift that was so much needed in this Bears locker room. Culture shift that we needed. The coaching, a hard coaching and good coaching that we needed. It was all a fit for this football team, and it came out to be a very magical season, a very surprising season for some, including myself. Despite me picking them to go to playoffs, this was a hell of a season. So even as a couple of days have passed, at the time I'm recording this, from the playoff loss to the Rams, I am still very proud of this football team. I am still very happy to be a Bears fan. And our future is so bright. And that future is a little bit of what I'm going to talk about in next week's episode. And that will conclude this week's episode of Chicago Bears Weekly. I know I probably talked long enough. But make sure you guys leave this video a like. Comment your thoughts about this Bears season, magical Bears season down below. Make sure you click the subscribe button and notification bell to see when I miss any of the videos that I post. I am APW Sports signing out, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Bear down. Peace.